In this video we're going to look at how we can assess draw advantages in UK horse races. Now all we need to do to work out if there is a draw advantage or not is do a simple count up of the number of wins from each starting stall in past races. Now that is a very big job, I know, because I've done it regularly for quite a long time. And if you do that, you'll find that newspaper advice in many cases doesn't compare with past results on the racecourse. If you compare different newspapers, you'll find that one newspaper will very often have a completely opposite view to another. So overall their advice is very poor. Television presenters also come out with very wild statements and may just present 10 results of just one past race and put that forward as a draw advantage. Now 10 results is a very small sample, and I don't believe that these people really have time to spend the time necessary to assess any draw advantage at all. Now since I've been doing draw advantage and put it on the internet, unfortunately my information has been pirated, so you will see at least one more website that looks very similar to mine because he's stolen my presentation. But I would strongly advise you not to follow that advice that he's got on there, this chap, because he's taken shortcuts in presenting his information and it is far from accurate. Right, so we're going to look at some draw advantage charts and how to read them. Now I invented this presentation back in the 1970s and 1980s when I first put a book forward with the results of the horse races from 1976 to 1981. I published that in 1982. We'll look at some examples on how to read the charts. We'll look at a low draw advantage at Chester, the old well-known high draw advantage at Beverly, but since the renumbering of the stalls in the UK, those are now numbered the other way around, but we'll look at that. That's a good example of a high draw advantage. And the factors that affect a draw are mainly the going, drainage. You must think about drainage when it comes to draw advantages. If you were running in a race against me and I was running on sand and you were running on a very hard surface, there's a very good chance that you would run a lot faster than I do. So that is where going comes into it. You might think that soft going would make a draw advantage more effective, but it actually works the other way around, and soft going nullifies draw advantages in most cases at most race courses. Another big factor is the number of runners. If you've only got a few runners, say 6 or 7 runners, they're nearly all well drawn, but once you get over 20, certainly over 18, up in the 20s, fields can split and it's very difficult to predict which side of a race course will be an advantage. So the main thing to look for is a limited number of runners. Say I've put a rough figure there of 8 to 18, but it may become obvious at some places that you might only go like 8 to 14 runners or something like that. You'll find that most draw advantages are best over 5 and 6 furlong sprints, and as distance increases, draw advantages become less effective. Now you'll find on television that television presenters will talk about draw advantages in races of a mile and 2 furlongs, or even 2 miles or beyond, in the Chester Cup, for instance, and the Pitman's Derby at Newcastle. Now, if draw advantages were effective over 2 miles, they'd be talking about them in hurdle races, which no one ever does. So just ignore anything that people say on television. Right, another big factor is stalls positioning. The stalls might position at one side of the course or the other, or in the middle. So stall positioning can have a big effect on draw advantages. Right, we'll look at all those by looking at some draw advantage charts. Right, this is the basics of a chart. This is an empty chart, of course, and across the top here we've got the winning stall number. We've got stall number 1 up to 20 on this chart, and down the side here we've got the number of runners, which is number 8, 9, 10 all the way down to 20 there. So to record a result, we just plot the winning stall number against the number of runners. So if we had a winner from stall 1 with 8 runners, we'd put a 1 in there to represent 1 win. And if we've got a winner with 9 runners from stall 6, we would put it there. And if it finished from stall 10, one from stall 10 with 10 runners, that was stall 10 with 10 runners, it would appear there in the end bit of that blue bit. Now you can see from that anything that wins from stall number 1 goes down there, anything from stall number 2 goes down there, and so on. So the wins from low number stalls appear down there on the chart, and they're coloured in yellow on the charts. Now anything from a high number stall appears in this diagonal bit here. You can see that one drawn 10 of 10 runners appears in the end cell there. 11 of 11 would appear there. 12 of 12 would appear there, and so on. So the highest number stall, wins from the highest number stall, would appear in the end column there, the end cells there, diagonally across the chart. So these blue highlighted cells represent the top 6 stalls. So in that case that would be stall 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So a winner from there will be drawn 5 of 10 runners. Once we get up here, of course, where there were 20 runners, that will be win from stall 20, 19, 18, 17, 16 and 15. So the top 6 stalls there will be those. And of course the bottom 6 stalls will be down there. So in that way we can see a low draw advantage on the chart like down there but vertically, and a high draw advantage diagonally where it's highlighted in blue. Now down at the bottom here you'll see some numbers in the charts. They are totals of the wins on good or better going. So these totals here will be the total of all the wins from stall 1 on good or better going. Those are results shown in black. You'll see red results shown there on wins on going softer than good, but there are relatively few results on softer going, so I've added just the good or better going results for these totals at the bottom there. So they would be for the bottom 6 stalls, and those totals would be for the top 6 stalls added diagonally. So if we just had these results on there, there would be a number 3 in that cell there, like that. Okay, so that would be those total diagonally down there. Now just here, in there and there will be a top half and bottom half split. So this number here in this box down below that will be the number of wins on good or better going from the top half of the draw. I do a split down the middle there, and a number there would be the number of wins on good or better going from the bottom half of the draw, which would be that area there. So when you first look at a chart, you might compare the top half split and the bottom half split just to get a quick idea of if there's a draw advantage on that particular chart, and then start looking at the pattern after that. Okay, we'll go and look at some proper charts now. Right, here we are on my Draw Advantage website, and I'm on the demonstration tab for Chester 5 furlongs, which, as we all know, is a good example of a low draw advantage. Now when you look at the chart, you'll see the name of the course and distance there, and the position of the stalls is shown by the side of there. Right, we can see the results in here. You can see the red ones, they're on good to soft or softer going, and the black ones are on good or better. Now you see a good cluster of results from the bottom 6 stalls at this course and distance, and relatively few results from the top 6 stalls up there. So that's a good indication in the pattern of a low draw advantage. But if we look at the top half bottom half split at the bottom there. You see the top half had 10 wins on good or better going compared to 43 in the bottom half, so that's an excellent indication that there's a strong draw advantage in these races. Now you can see also from the totals here, we've got totals in double figures here in the bottom 6 stalls of 10 and 13, and in the top 6 stalls the most we get is 6 there, and none at all from the top stall on good or better going. So they've been added diagonally like that, and they've been added vertically down there like that. Okay, so that's about all there is for Chester. Now we'll move on to Beverly, which is a good example of a high draw advantage. There is a bit of an explanation at the top here, of course, on these web pages. Now the Beverly chart is a complete opposite. You can see all the results, most of the results are on the blue part of the chart, with relatively few on the in the low draw advantage cells on this side here. Again, the top half bottom half split this time favours the top half by 90 wins to 18 from the bottom half on good or better going, and you can see the quite large totals at the bottom there compared to small totals for the lower number stalls. Now an interesting feature of this particular chart is that there's a strong draw advantage there, but once you get plenty of runners, the wins start to spread to lower stalls away from the top 6. You can see those wins there are spread right from stall 20 down to stall 11. So that is the advantage there is just with races with 20 runners is just for the top half of the draw, rather than any clustering in the top 6 stalls. So for this course and distance, you might just consider maybe up to 18 runners, and once you get beyond 18 runners, results on good or better going start to spread to lower stalls. So you might just wait for races with 8 to 18 runners at Beverly. Now a problem at Beverly is that numbering of the stalls has changed in the last couple of seasons to accommodate foreign punters. So unfortunately this chart is out of date now, and this draw advantage is actually favouring low numbers now, not high numbers, because these numbers have been completely turned round, the stall numbers. Okay. I've moved on to the Epsom 5 furlong web page, and there's a note up here about what used to happen in the press concerning the draw advantages at Epsom. Now there are 2 charts, one for stalls positioned high, which is where the stalls are now, but down at the bottom there's an old chart for when the stalls used to be positioned against the low rail. Now you can see immediately on this chart from the top half bottom half split, there were 13 wins from the top half of the draw on good or better going, and only 3 on the bottom half of the chart from the low numbers. Now in these races, these are way back in 1970s and 1980s, all our national newspapers used to look at these races and recommend a low draw advantage, which was down this side of the chart. As you can see, the wins just weren't coming from there. Now that was what they were doing, that because the starting stalls were positioned against the low running rail, which would be with stall number 1 next to the rail. So they just assumed from that the draw advantage would be next to the running rail. But they got it wrong in a big way for a very long time, because the winners were coming from the high number stalls towards the middle of the course. So that is an example of just how wrong our national newspapers can get things. Now that was every newspaper in the country used to recommend a low draw advantage in those races. Now since those results, Epsom Racecourse have now positioned the stalls high against the stands rail, but as you can see from that pattern there and the top half bottom half split, the draw advantage isn't quite as strong, but it's still something worth considering in 5 furlong races at Epsom. Now this one is the chart for York 1 mile and 2 furlongs. Now this is the distance of the John Smith's Magnet Cup, which is on television every year, and television presenters often advise a low draw advantage in these races on the strength of the previous 10 years results. Now you can see from the top half bottom half split, we've got 25 wins from the top half of the draw and 40 wins from the bottom half of the draw on good or better going. Now that's looks, on the face of it, looks like there's a decent advantage there, but when you look at the where the results are, there's no real clustering anywhere on the chart. Now this race always has plenty of runners, so you can definitely see with 20 runners or more that results are spread across all stalls, on certainly on good or better going, and in fact the red results are spread as well. But our television presenters usually come up with the last 10 years results and propose some kind of a low draw advantage in these races, which in my opinion can be quite misleading.